Hi, I'm Helen from Heritage Garden Seeds, and today we're going to do the sow along for our autumn sowing peas. The variety is Pea Douce Provence, perfect variety for sowing in the autumn. Now you can sow your autumn peas directly into the ground, or you can sow them into large modules, or if you like me, I'm going to use these 9 centimetre pots. I'm going to sow around 3 seeds per pot. Now, the reason I like to sow mine into pots is so that I can overwinter them in the greenhouse. They can germinate in there, I can keep an eye on them and just help keep them protected from the weather and protect them from pests. So for me, that just means that I can give them the very best start in life. But if you would rather direct sow yours into the ground, that is absolutely fine as well. This is an autumn variety. So it couldn't be easier to sow our peas. I'm going to do 3 per pot. So I'm just going to lay them out on the surface of the soil first, and then I'm going to push them down so they're around 5 centimetres deep. And the reason I'm doing 3 is just so that they can grow together into nice bushy plants. So just push those down into the soil and then backfill with soil. You can always add a little bit of extra compost if you think that they need it. So I'm just popping a little bit of extra compost on there because it's just got pressed down a little bit. And then I'm just going to give those a light water. So we want the soil to be moist but not soaking wet, because if we keep our peas in soaking wet soil, they are likely to rot rather than germinate, which is not what we want. And remember to pop your little plant label in as well, because by spring you will have forgotten what you sowed. So if you direct sowing your peas, sow them about 3 to 5 centimetres apart and about 5 centimetres deep. Depending how quickly your peas come up, you may need to just give them some support over winter, use some twiggy sticks or some small canes or something like that, and they are going to need some protection over the winter months with some horticultural fleece. And if you're overwintering your peas in the greenhouse over the winter, like me, then we will look to transplant these out into the ground, into their final growing positions in the spring. We are going to harden our plants off before we plant them into their final growing position. So that just means to bring them out of the greenhouse each morning and pop them back in the greenhouse each evening so that they can get used to the fluctuations in temperature and the wind and things like that. Just get them used to the elements, and then they're not going to experience as much shock when they do get planted out. And then when we plant them, we're going to plant these around 5 centimetres apart and give them some support with some sticks or cane. Now, the pigeons are going to love your peas when they do get planted in the ground, so do try and cover your peas with some mesh or put some extra twigs around the edge just to try and deter them. And then you can harvest and enjoy your peas as soon as they're ready. It's usually around May time. And then just keep picking the pods regularly to encourage production. And this is a variety that can also be sown again in the spring, so that will just help you to extend that season. And if you want to get a taste of what they are like now, why not try sowing a few indoors and grow them as pea shoots, which is always interesting and a nice, fun, easy thing to do. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. The best place is always on Instagram. We are at Heritage Garden Seeds, or you can drop me an email. The email address is hello@heritagegardenseeds.com.